Karoline Leavitt recently appeared on national television and delivered a striking blow to Governor Gavin Newsom. Her sharp critique focused on California's economic decline, rising crime rates, and failed progressive policies. Leavitt did not hold back, and her words have now gone viral across political communities. While Newsom attempted to defend his record, it was clear that Leavitt came prepared. Her data-driven arguments exposed flaws in California's leadership, especially around homelessness and public safety. She portrayed Newsom as out of touch with real American struggles. Social media exploded within minutes of the exchange. Conservative voices applauded Leavitt's courage and precision. Even moderate commentators acknowledged that her performance was one of the most impactful moments in recent political debates. This confrontation comes at a time when Donald Trump's campaign is surging across battleground states. As Biden's approval ratings fall, Trump's comeback is gaining serious momentum. Leavitt's support only strengthens the movement behind the former president. Leavitt has quickly become a leading voice for Gen Z conservatives. At just 26 years old, her clarity and confidence are drawing comparisons to rising stars like Elise Stefanik and even historical figures like Margaret Thatcher. In contrast, Newsom's response seemed tired and rehearsed. Many viewers noted that he relied on buzzwords and vague promises rather than offering tangible solutions to California's real problems. That contrast favored Leavitt enormously. Fox News and other conservative outlets replayed the moment throughout the day. Pundits praised Leavitt's composure and ability to stay on message. Her political instincts are clearly sharp, and this moment could define her future career. Trump himself reposted the clip, calling Leavitt a true patriot and a powerful fighter for America's future. That kind of endorsement only raises her national profile further. She's clearly in Trump's inner circle of trusted allies. Democrats, meanwhile, scrambled to control the narrative. Some tried dismissing Leavitt's comments as talking points, but that tactic failed. Too many Americans are resonating with her message, particularly those in struggling cities. This debate isn't just about California. It's about two competing visions for America's future. Leavitt's message reflects a growing hunger for accountability, economic freedom, and a return to traditional values. Newsom, often considered a potential 2028 presidential candidate, now finds himself on the defensive. His national ambitions may suffer if this viral moment continues to gain steam among independent voters. Leavitt's rise also signals a broader shift in Republican media strategy. Instead of just relying on older establishment voices, the GOP is increasingly spotlighting younger, media-savvy leaders who can connect with voters on platforms like YouTube, X, and TikTok. The energy around Leavitt also shows the GOP's effort to court younger demographics. With her quick wit, relatable tone, and firm grasp on policy, she's helping Republicans challenge the Democrats' stronghold among younger voters. This isn't the first time Leavitt has gone viral. In past interviews, she's clashed with liberal hosts and emerged victorious by staying factual and focused. Her consistency has made her a favorite among the grassroots right. Gavin Newsom's defenders argue that California is innovating and leading on climate and tech. But Leavitt turned those claims around by pointing out the exodus of residents and businesses from the state due to high taxes and overregulation. The exchange also reignited the debate over federalism and states' rights. Leavitt emphasized that California's policies often serve as a warning for the rest of the country, not a model to follow. Some analysts now predict that Leavitt will play a key role in the 2024 Trump campaign. Whether as a surrogate or possible press secretary, she has the skills and loyalty that Trump values in his inner circle. The reaction from younger Republicans has been especially strong. Many see Leavitt as proof that you don't have to compromise your beliefs to be successful in politics. She represents a bold, unapologetic conservatism. Leavitt's messaging is built around economic realism, border security, and protecting individual freedoms. These are core Trump-era values, and she communicates them with a fresh tone that cuts through the noise. Newsom may have underestimated his opponent. As a media-trained politician, he expected a typical talking head encounter. Instead, he faced a formidable challenger who turned the debate upside down. This moment also reflects the growing divide between America's two coasts and the heartland. Leavitt's New Hampshire roots give her a grounding that contrasts sharply with Newsom's California elite background. Political influencers have already clipped key moments from the debate. These snippets are spreading fast on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, reaching voters who don't watch cable news. This isn't just a viral flash, it's part of a broader movement. Trump's allies are building a team of young, articulate leaders who can dominate both traditional and digital media landscapes. Karoline Leavitt's rise reflects the evolution of Republican messaging in the digital age. Clear, sharp, and fearless, she represents a new wave of political communication that could shape elections for years to come. If this is a preview of the 2024 and 2025 political season, then viewers should buckle up. The battle lines are being drawn, and voices like Leavitt's are at the forefront of the coming storm. Leavitt's effectiveness also stems from her ability to simplify complex issues. While many politicians get lost in jargon, she breaks down the consequences of liberal policies in ways everyday Americans understand. Her talk about inflation, fuel prices, and crime struck a nerve with families across the country. That relatability is becoming a major asset in a political world that often feels distant and disconnected from reality. Another key factor in this moment is timing. As the 2024 election cycle heats up, Americans are paying closer attention to political messaging. Leavitt's viral moment isn't just a lucky break, it's perfectly timed. With early voting just months away in some states, shaping the national conversation right now is incredibly powerful. She's capturing attention when voters are most alert and undecided. In many ways, this debate crystallized the difference between the political elite and the grassroots. Newsom, a polished career politician, delivered talking points. Leavitt, representing a newer generation, spoke like someone who's actually listening to the concerns of real Americans. That contrast is resonating deeply, especially in swing states and working-class communities. Leavitt's tone was confident but not arrogant. She delivered her critiques with a calm intensity that made them more powerful. Viewers noticed her poise under pressure and her refusal to be baited by Newsom's interruptions. Her discipline on camera reflects serious media training and natural talent, two qualities that are rare even among veteran politicians. Beyond party politics, this moment reveals a cultural shift. Americans are hungry for authenticity and honesty, and Leavitt is filling that gap. Her messaging feels less like a lecture and more like a real conversation. That's why her content spreads so easily online. It doesn't feel like propaganda, it feels like truth, even to those who might disagree with her. Some Democrat strategists have privately admitted concern. They see Leavitt as a threat not just because of her skills, but because she's mobilizing a demographic they've long assumed was theirs, young voters. Her appeal to young women in particular could shift the balance in ways that haven't been fully accounted for by political analysts. The debate also touched on immigration, where Leavitt scored big points by calling out the border crisis. Her vivid examples of overwhelmed border towns and national security risks made headlines. While Newsom tried to paint a humanitarian picture, Leavitt focused on the consequences of open border policies, including drugs, trafficking, and violence. In the hours after the exchange, conservative fundraising platforms saw a spike in donations. Several Trump-aligned PACs mentioned the clip in fundraising emails, showing how politically useful the moment has already become. Leavitt may have helped Republicans raise millions in a single news cycle, a testament to the power of sharp, viral messaging. Some are now asking whether Leavitt could run for higher office. While she's focused on helping Trump win in 2024, her growing profile suggests she has serious political capital to spend. A future Senate run, or even a cabinet role, would not be surprising if current trends continue. She's proven she has national appeal and battlefield discipline. Ultimately, this showdown between Karoline Leavitt and Gavin Newsom wasn't just about two politicians. It was about two futures for America. One rooted in conservative resurgence and populist energy, the other clinging to progressive ideals that are increasingly under fire. The public is watching and choosing. And right now, Leavitt is winning that argument. One of the most overlooked aspects of Leavitt's rise is her communication discipline. In a media landscape full of distractions, she stays laser-focused on the issues that matter to voters. Whether it's border security, inflation, or the erosion of parental rights, she hammers her message with precision. That kind of focus is a major reason her words are cutting through the noise and becoming rallying cries for the conservative base. Leavitt's growing influence also reflects a shift within the GOP itself. The party is moving away from career politicians and embracing bold, principled outsiders. Like Trump in 2016, Leavitt represents disruption. Her presence signals a new era in Republican messaging, one that prizes authenticity, fearlessness, and the ability to dominate digital platforms as well as legacy media. In contrast, Newsom represents the status quo. He's polished, media-groomed, and deeply embedded in establishment networks. But that image is becoming a liability. Voters no longer trust the surface-level polish. They want truth-tellers, not speechmakers. Leavitt's raw delivery and real-world perspective expose just how disconnected Newsom's brand of politics has become from everyday Americans. The generational contrast was especially stark. While Newsom's answers sounded like recycled slogans from a decade ago, Leavitt spoke the language of 2025. She invoked real-time data, referenced viral trends, and addressed cultural battles like education, censorship, and family values. That fluency in modern discourse gives her a unique edge in today's fragmented media environment. Many political commentators believe this moment marks a turning point, not just for Leavitt, but for the future of conservative women in politics. For years, the left claimed a monopoly on youth and female empowerment. Leavitt is breaking that narrative. She's proving that young conservative women can be fierce, informed, and unapologetically patriotic. As the dust settles from this exchange, the left is struggling to counter Leavitt's message. Their usual tactics, labeling her as extreme or far-right, aren't sticking. Why? Because she doesn't come off as angry or out of control. Her tone is firm but reasonable, and that balance is winning over independents who are tired of partisan chaos. Leavitt also drew attention for calling out media bias. She pointed out how networks often protect Democrat politicians by framing interviews to their advantage. Her blunt criticism of corporate media earned cheers from viewers who feel gaslit by the mainstream narrative. It's another reason why her voice feels so necessary in the current political climate. Newsom attempted to pivot to national topics like climate change and reproductive rights, but those issues fell flat in the face of Leavitt's grounded, local-level concerns. Voters aren't thinking about abstract policy, they're thinking about paying rent, finding safe neighborhoods, and securing their children's future. Leavitt's rhetoric met people where they are. The backlash against Newsom's performance was swift. Even some liberal pundits acknowledged that he failed to control the conversation. His defensive posture and vague deflections made him look weak. In contrast, Leavitt looked like someone ready to lead, not just comment. That perception shift may have long-term consequences for both politicians. Looking forward, this moment will likely be studied as a case study in modern political communication. Leavitt's ability to seize a national spotlight, command the narrative, and flip the media script is rare. In a single appearance, she not only humbled a high-profile Democrat but also redefined what conservative leadership looks like in the digital age. Leavitt's moment wasn't a fluke. It was the result of a well-calculated media strategy. She has been building her presence across platforms for months, slowly gaining attention with short, sharp video clips, powerful interviews, and relentless messaging. This debate with Newsom was the tipping point, pushing her into the mainstream spotlight and turning her into one of the most talked-about conservative voices in America. Her mastery of timing is evident in how she links local failures to national consequences. She tied California's homelessness crisis to broader Democrat policies across the country. She made viewers in states like Arizona, Ohio, and Pennsylvania feel personally connected to California's problems, which made her arguments hit much harder. It wasn't just criticism, it was a warning. Leavitt's use of real stories from Americans gave her message emotional weight. She referenced parents losing control over their children's education and veterans unable to access care due to bloated government systems. These stories weren't abstract, they were raw and human. That gave her the edge over Newsom's sterile statistics and talking points. During the debate, you could see a shift in momentum. Viewers across social media began sharing clips with captions like, "She said what we're all thinking." That kind of virality is impossible to fake. It only happens when someone truly connects with the cultural mood. Leavitt didn't just win a debate, she tapped into a growing national frustration. Her calm under fire was especially noteworthy. Newsom attempted to provoke her with smirks and condescension, but she never took the bait. She stayed cool, respectful, and relentless. That emotional discipline stood in sharp contrast to the typical image of political firebrands, and it added a layer of credibility that will serve her long-term. Leavitt's sharp attacks on California's soft-on-crime policies drew major attention. She cited examples of repeat offenders walking free while law-abiding citizens live in fear. She didn't speak in theory, she spoke in facts, headlines, and public outrage. And that resonated deeply with audiences tired of lawlessness and double standards. One of the boldest moments came when Leavitt questioned Newsom's presidential ambitions directly. She asked, "If this is how you run your state, why should anyone trust you with the country?" That single line became a viral soundbite within hours and is now being replayed across conservative media as a defining takedown. She also turned the focus toward working-class Americans, truck drivers, waitresses, small business owners, people who rarely see themselves reflected in elite politics. She called them the backbone of the country, contrasting them with what she labeled coastal elites and billionaire donors who influence democratic agendas. That populist tone echoed Trump's most effective rhetoric. Leavitt's ability to shift between policy analysis and emotional appeal is what separates her from many peers. She can rattle off statistics about inflation one moment and talk about single mothers being priced out of their neighborhoods the next. That versatility is rare and politically lethal to opponents who rely on a one-dimensional approach. In the aftermath, independent voters began chiming in online. Many said they weren't Trump fans, but were impressed by Leavitt's clarity and courage. That crossover appeal is significant. If Republicans can win over centrists and independents through voices like Leavitt, 2024 becomes a very different election than the media is predicting. Her call to fight for the forgotten American has become a rallying cry. It echoes Ronald Reagan's messaging in the 1980s, but with a 2025 twist. Leavitt's America is one of families, faith, freedom, and fairness, not bureaucracy, overreach, and elite indifference. That vision, increasingly, is setting the tone for the Republican grassroots. Many compare her rise to that of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but from the right. Both are young, media-savvy, and deeply ideological. The difference? Leavitt brings a traditionalist, constitutionalist approach that appeals to middle America. If AOC reshaped the left, Leavitt may do the same for the modern right. The media tried to downplay the moment, but it was too late. Independent creators, conservative influencers, and even neutral political analysts had already pushed the clip to millions of views. That's the power of decentralized media. When the message is strong, it can't be controlled, edited, or silenced by legacy gatekeepers. Leavitt's use of faith in her messaging also stood out. She spoke briefly but powerfully about the importance of family, moral values, and religious liberty. In an era where traditional faith is often mocked or ignored in politics, her unapologetic embrace of it gave voice to millions of Americans who feel alienated by cultural shifts. Trump's reposting of her clip wasn't just praise, it was strategy. He sees Leavitt as a bridge between his movement and the next generation. Her ability to speak to younger voters without compromising conservative values is exactly what the GOP needs to remain competitive long-term. Trump's base respects her. The future is listening. Behind the scenes, GOP strategists are already positioning Leavitt for national visibility. Expect her to appear more on campaign stages, cable panels, and youth-targeted platforms. She's not just a commentator anymore, she's becoming a symbol of the new conservative generation. This moment also highlights how vital communication skills are in today's politics. Policy matters, but delivery determines reach. Leavitt's blend of facts, tone, emotion, and authenticity made her words unforgettable. Politicians who can't adapt to this new landscape will fade fast. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom's silence since the exchange has raised eyebrows. He's gone noticeably quiet on social media and declined several follow-up interviews. That silence speaks volumes, and many are interpreting it as damage control. The longer he waits to respond, the more power Leavitt's performance gains. Leavitt's rise isn't just a political story, it's a cultural one. She's part of a broader shift where young Americans are rejecting institutional narratives and demanding results. Her message is simple: you deserve better, and I'm not afraid to say it. That's powerful, and it's spreading fast. If this debate was a preview of the 2025 political battlefield, one thing is clear: Karoline Leavitt is not only ready, she's redefining the fight. And the political class, both left and right, is officially on notice. Leavitt's appeal also comes from her ability to connect with voters' frustrations without alienating moderates. She speaks forcefully against failed policies but avoids extreme rhetoric that could scare swing voters. This balance is crucial in battleground states where every percentage point counts. Her messaging is sharp yet inclusive, creating a coalition that extends beyond traditional Republican voters. Her digital strategy is another key to success. Leavitt consistently uses social media to amplify her voice, engage supporters, and push back against misinformation. She understands the power of platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram to shape public opinion quickly. In the modern political arena, that digital fluency is a game changer. During the clash, Leavitt highlighted California's massive exodus of residents. Millions are reportedly leaving the state for more affordable and safer communities. She framed this migration as a direct consequence of Newsom's policies, arguing that voters across the country should see it as a cautionary tale about progressive governance. Leavitt's emphasis on economic freedom struck a chord. She criticized high taxes, regulatory overreach, and energy policies she says stifle innovation and burden families. In an era of rising costs and stagnant wages, her message of fiscal responsibility resonates widely, especially with middle-class voters struggling to make ends meet. Another powerful element of her approach is storytelling. Rather than relying solely on statistics, she shares anecdotes of everyday Americans impacted by political decisions. These personal stories humanize complex issues and foster empathy. It's an old-school technique that remains effective in modern politics. Leavitt also underscored the importance of law and order. In many communities, citizens feel abandoned by officials who refuse to enforce basic laws. Her promises to restore safety and accountability give hope to voters who have grown weary of rising crime and disorder, particularly in urban centers. Her criticisms of Newsom's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic were blunt. She argued that his inconsistent policies hurt businesses and families, undermining trust in government. This critique taps into lingering frustrations about lockdowns, school closures, and economic uncertainty that remain fresh in voters' minds. Leavitt's vision for America is rooted in patriotism. She celebrates the country's founding principles and calls for a return to constitutional values. This patriotic framing appeals not only to conservatives but to many Americans who feel the country has lost its way culturally and politically. Leavitt's personal background as a New Hampshire native gives her a unique perspective. She embodies the blend of traditional American values and modern conservatism. This authenticity allows her to connect across regional divides, bridging coastal elites and heartland voters in a way few politicians manage. Finally, her rapid rise shows that political newcomers can still shake up the system. In an era dominated by career politicians and entrenched interests, Leavitt represents hope for voters craving fresh voices and new ideas. Her success could inspire a new generation to step forward and redefine America's political future. Karoline Leavitt's clash with Gavin Newsom was more than a political debate. It was a defining moment in America's evolving culture war. Her fearless delivery, clear vision, and digital savvy mark her as a leader of the next conservative generation. As Donald Trump gains momentum and the 2024 election looms, voices like Leavitt's will shape not only campaigns but the very future of the nation. This is a pivotal chapter in the story of American politics, one where the stakes have never been higher, and the fight for the soul of the country is underway.